Hello, social media family. Today, we are going to talk about one of the 12 key areas of life, and that is the area of well being. It's one of the 12 key areas of life that I identify in my Amazon international best-selling book. And for those of you who have not encountered me before, and this is your first time seeing me on social media, my name is Damian Reed, and I am a performance and freedom lifestyle mentor, coach, and international speaker. These particular videos are a series on the habit of the week, and the habit of the week that we're looking at in this particular week is habit number 28, and the habits are part of the 52 habits of the book that I mentioned earlier, which is Cure Entrepreneurialitis, 52 Habits to Earn the Freedom You Deserve. And if you haven't yet picked up that book, you can find it on Amazon or on Kindle through Amazon, of course. And the habit is to do something every day to positively contribute to your well-being. Now, before writing my book, I was working with an amazing endurance coach, Nat. And Nat had a quote that I loved, and I included it in the book. And the quote goes like this: radical performance demands radical self-care. And I love that quote because it had me have to confront rethinking what I considered self-care and rethinking what I, as an entrepreneur, needed to consider, needed to take into account, and perhaps think about some changes that I might need to implement in my own life in order to achieve the kind of extraordinary performance I was looking for myself to produce in the world. Now, one of the things about us as entrepreneurs is that inherently, even the definition of the word entrepreneur means that we're people who take risks. And often we're people who are doing things that have never been done before. You may be starting a business idea or concept that has never been done. You may be the first person in your family who's ever gone out and decided to have their own business. But very often it's things, whether they be actual business concepts or it in the world of that surrounds you, we're often those people who are pioneers and pushing against the limits of things that haven't really been done before. And one of the things that is required, among many things, to have that kind of personality, to have that kind of commitment to succeed in that area, one of the things that is required is a high level of performance, a sustained level of performance for us as entrepreneurs. Why? Because you're in a very competitive marketplace. For those of you who might be running a bricks and mortar business, I was walking around the other day and I was just looking at some different businesses, specifically in the food services industry. And I was thinking about, wow, like if you're a coffee shop within like blocks of you, what the competition is, like a block and a half from my house is a Tim Hortons, and 2 blocks from that is another Tim Hortons. A block from that is a Starbucks. There's an Aroma across the street for the Tim Hortons. If you're the coffee franchise owner, you're competing against so many people that are just like so close to you. If you're a sushi store owner, and you just look around, like in the downtown Toronto area that I live, and you just look around and see how close other sushi shops are. Never mind if you're someone who runs an online type business and you're competing against the world marketplace. It requires a high level of performance for you to remain competitive and do what it is that you do best. So that level of performance requires that we are in great shape, physically, mental, emotionally, spiritually, all of those areas of well-being. And by nature, we're people who are willing to fail. We know that we'll try many things, and sometimes only a few of them will work. And so there is that opening for us to be able to try different things with our well-being to get ourselves into this radical area of self-performance. But I want you to start to consider, what does radical performance look like to you? And what kind of radical self-care would support that? And what is radical self-care? For some people who, I have a client who is an extraordinary athlete. He's an amazing athlete. So what does radical self-care look like to him? He's already someone who's very, very fit. He exercises on a regular basis. He reads. He takes care of his emotional well-being, his spiritual well-being, etc. What would it look like for him to become radical? And that may not be you. You may be operating at a different level, not a lower level, but a different level. Perhaps you're someone who works a lot and you don't exercise, you don't work out at all, you don't have a spiritual practice. What would it look like for you to embrace radical self-care so that you could take whatever that performance is that you're operating at right now, that level of performance, and elevate that to radical performance? So here are some tips for this particular habit of the week. Number one, step out of your comfort zone and embrace this notion of radical self-care. Wherever you are right now, that's probably a level that you're comfortable, and you want to take that to another level so that you can find yourself in a different zone of performance. Tip number two, listen to your body and what it's telling you it needs. That's one of the big things that I had a radical breakthrough in a number of years ago. Was I used to just keep going and pounding away on my body until I learned to listen. And now I'm so adamant about listening to my body that no one can mess with me about that. Someone challenged me about that in the last week. And I was so clear that if you can't respect my boundaries and my limits on what I say I need for my self-care, then you're not someone that I'm willing to work with. And you just can't mess with me now about that. When I listen to my body, that comes first, because that's the most important. And you want to get to, not that you have to get to a level like that, but if you can get to a level like that, your body is so wise and it tells you everything that you need to know about taking care of it. Number three, and probably the most important of the three tips that I'm going to give you this week, is stop listening to bad advice. That includes listening to bad advice from yourself. And one of the most common pieces of bad advice that still percolates through the entrepreneurial world these days is that you need to be married to your business. Look, radical self-care means that you need to be able to disconnect from your business and take care of yourself and all of those areas that I mentioned before. And you can't do that when you're married to your business. Your business needs to be able to operate without you, and you need to be able to operate without your business. And if you can't achieve that separation, then you don't have a business, you have a job. And you've probably heard that before, and I'm just repeating it again so that you get a reminder about what that's all about. All right, I'm going to leave that with you for now. Again, a reminder of, to go for a radical self-care this week, practice that habit of the week. I want to thank you for tuning in to me on whatever social media channel it is that you have found this video. We will resume with another habit of the week next week. Always tune in once a week. We'll do the next habit of the week. If you've got any questions, if you've got any comments, I'd love to see them and hear from you. So feel free to put them into the comment section or just send us a direct message. We'll respond to all the comments and questions that you send us. And if you're interested in finding out more about working with me or the Damien M. Reed International team, please reach out. We'd love to have a conversation with you. find out what you're dealing with and find out how we can support you. Have a great week. Stay tuned next week, and good luck with practicing on this habit. Thanks for now, and bye for now.